All right, so this is definitely going to be a different one. Someone suggested this video to me. They said to watch about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of it. So we shall here. The name of the video is, I Just Want Fairness. They told me to basically start at around 14 minutes. So let's go ahead and start this up immediately. The link for the entire video is going to be in the description. Let's see where this takes us, guys. Let's hit play.
Okay. Do you know why this is important?
Last year, affirmative action ended, and certain people thought that it would increase their chances into getting into certain universities.
Affirmative action, which affirmative action?
Affirmative action as in like your race is considered when you apply to college?
When you apply to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court said, no, can't do that anymore.
Yeah. And so this article pretty much shows that for certain people at least, affirmative action ending didn't improve their chances on getting into these universities.
Well, here's the thing. Not all schools have reported their data yet. This just happened to be an article that showed up in the New York Times. Okay? For some schools are reporting that it appears to be, it's not having much of an impact at all. So the idea is, do either of you want to add to why this is a big issue? Or do you want to, we'll just go, we'll go. All right, so the idea is that the Supreme Court said, hey, you can't, universities, when you're deciding whether to admit applicants in the United States, you can't look at their race. You can look at all sorts of things. You can look at the records, you can look at where they're from, you can look at their school records. I mean, you know, all of this, but you can't look at the race. It's just not fair.
That's a good thing.
Because what appears to be happening is, it appears to be that people are not treating some people with equity. It's an unequal system. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, you made a good argument. Okay, so we're going to abandon that.
Right.
All right? Now.
Yeah, guys, listen. If you don't qualify for something, or if you can only specifically qualify for something because of the color of your skin, then it's not really a valuable position for you to kind of be in the first place, let's say. Right? I don't see the value in you being there, right? But so far, great.
But wasn't affirmative action and isn't affirmative action an attempt to address inequality and create equity?
You know, let me ask Colin, what's affirmative action in a sense? How is affirmative action an attempt?
Repeat after me.
No, how is affirmative action an attempt to bring about greater equity? How's it work in college admissions?
It's supposed to help those who are from a, less, it's so take it for instance that people from a higher class, like upper middle class, are.
No, hang on. I'm going to help you. The word you were going to use and you didn't use that you were looking for is historically disadvantaged groups.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is with the historically disadvantaged groups that. If you want to talk about affirmative action specifically being targeted towards like black and brown people, that's just not true, because that's not who are the main, let's say, recipients of affirmative action type of scenarios. It's generally white American women. Right, that's the most, okay? So, but I guess they do fall, I guess, for the most part, into that category also. But I think stereotypically, we tend to think that it's only black and brown people, but it really is, in fact, white American women who benefit the most, let's say, or benefited the most from affirmative action. Now, DEI is slightly different, obviously, but affirmative action absolutely was white American women.
So historically, it's to help historically disadvantaged groups. And it brings about more equality in that certain direction. So
how's it going to bring about greater equality? How do you think? Any of you? How's affirmative action going to help bring about greater equality?
Taking from other people?
No, greater. How's it? Yeah, and then we're not going to touch fairness yet. How's it going to bring about greater equality?
That deserve to be in the position?
I think it's just the fact that it takes into consideration certain historical and societal things that have happened in the country.
And then?
Like, for example, like if you're black, it takes into consideration that, like the data we saw earlier about the median, that like you may have not grown up in a neighborhood, for example, that had certain programs in place at your high school.
Okay.
So when they see that you're black on your application, they can be like, maybe they didn't have as many opportunities as the white person that grew up in an affluent neighborhood.
All right.
Yeah, that just sounds racist by default because I'm definitely, in fact, black, I think. Okay. And that's not my story. But either way.
Okay. Hey, I want to ask you a question. Arjun, can you look at her and see, do you know what her ancestry is?
Okay, wait, I like this game. I'm going to go ahead and say black and Mexican. That's kind of where I'm at. It could be. She could also be maybe like Navajo, specifically close to the Mexican border. I'm definitely saying something Mexico, right? She could also be Mexican from the region of La Costa Chica in the south of Mexico. This is where all of the historical Afro Mexicanos are basically from, right? That region there, but somewhere there.
Arjun, can you look at her and see? Do you know what her ancestry is?
I like this game. Go.
No.
Take a guess.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
What?
This guy. You're from India, right?
I mean, I was like born here.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. You're born here. Do you think you're not allowed to do that?
Who told you
I mean,
that?
isn't like assuming like bad? Like, isn't that like the thing that's like?
What in the Gen Z is going on
Hey,
here?
white people, it's not just us that has learned that we're not supposed to look at people and make assumptions.
Why? Sometimes assumptions are valuable. Like I look at all of these individuals. I could definitely tell you most likely the guy in the center is probably from like North India somewhere. Okay. Now this guy here in the end, his lineage seems to be most likely somewhere Nordic, specifically Nordic, based off his height and his build. He kind of looks like a Viking from the show Vikings, guys. You know what I'm saying here? And now the one on the left, I'm telling you, she looks like she could either be like Navajo or like black mixed with Mexican, specifically Mexican.
Everybody has taken that on. Dude, you're
Why?
allowed to. This is a class on race relations. You can look at people's faces. You can look at Colin. You can look at her. You can look at me. And you can just, yeah, I'm just curious where you think what her ancestry is, her background.
Like Jamaican.
Jamaican? No, that's not Jamaica. Don't get me wrong here. I mean, there is a gigantic population of Arawaks specifically in Jamaica that could resemble her, guys. But I wouldn't say Jamaica first because Arawaks were kind of all over the Caribbean, Venezuela, etc. natives.
Maybe.
Colin, what do you think?
I'm gonna say.
I like this game.
I don't know.
Colin, come on, bro.
I would agree with Jamaican a little bit. I'm not really too good at this.
That's an easy way out. All right, go. Can you get a close up?
Okay. Jamaican.
All right, go ahead. Tell them what your ancestry is.
Go.
Okay, so my mom is Puerto Rican and Mexican.
I told you Mexico. Like every single thing about her phenotype looks Mexican. Okay. Now the Puerto Rican side, I don't know where that's hiding, guys. It could be potentially like Taino, maybe, but maybe Taino.
Ancestry is.
Okay, so my mom is Puerto Rican and Mexican, and my dad is black and white.
Guys, black. I could.
Okay.
My mother used to basically say to people, she used to say to me while people walk down the street, "You can't hide us." That's what she used to say. That's what she's. Well,
all right, so listen.
I'm sure she still says it.
Now, what's the equity issue?
Sorry,
with
guys.
regard
We're back.
to
We're back.
affirmative act, of regard to admissions and enrollments? What's the equity issue? What's the Supreme Court saying? Why'd they rule against this? Yeah. Is that a fair question? Is that a good question, Lori?
Why'd they rule against it?
Yeah, why'd they rule against? Why'd they say, like, no, you can't use this, race and admissions? What are they seeing?
Like,
she can pick any four of those
like,
groups.
As like of Indian descent or like Asian, like, you know, I know like one of like the
Specify West Asian.
At least like this was something that like we saw a lot while applying for colleges and stuff, was like
It's like the equality of opportunity, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like people argue that like no matter who you are, where you come from, you have like equal chance depending on where you started from, or like I guess like I mean I just found this out like last class about the structural thing. Not like found out, but like it went more into depth.
To start
about it.
thinking about that.
Yeah. But
Okay,
like yeah.
So what happens if she? So we come along. Penn State comes along and says, Jade. Jade. Okay, you're Mexican, you're black, you're white. All right, we're gonna like give you a little bit of something extra. What happens?
Like what happens to me, or like
No, what happens to her?
What's the consequences of that? What's the fallout
The
for
other
everybody
people?
involved? Remember, equity.
That's a huge question, by the way.
That's a huge question, but what's the fallout for people who are not Jade?
Can
Okay.
I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
talk? Why is this important?
I think, why is this question important?
Why? Yeah. What is it? What makes this conversation about equity important? What is it that? What's the value?
Well, it's what we're really fighting about. We have all of this inequality, okay? And we're trying to rectify it. We have things that we know are unfair for some people. We don't know who, when, how, what, but we know there's unfairness. And we know not everybody gets a fair shake. And so we step into the system and we start moving it around like we're playing with blocks when we're 5 years old. We got those wooden blocks. And we just keep moving them around to try to get the right shape and make it, we're gonna move this over here, we're gonna move this over here. And every time you move something, it impacts something else. Okay, so I wanna know if we give Jade, if Penn State says, hey Jade, we're gonna give you like we're gonna advance you a little bit. What's the negative impact of that? It's good for her.
Right. The other
What's
people
the negative impact?
are going to be going through it.
What are people arguing? People who won the Supreme Court case, what did they say? Do you imagine they said?
Some people are given advantages over others when they have equal merits to each other.
Okay. So you can assume
Equal merits?
that if we look at Jade and say, hey, you know what? We look at you, we're gonna move you forward. You gotta assume 100,000 people apply to Penn State. You gotta assume of all the people that they said no to, one of them is equal to Jade.
Right.
If not multiple. But
guys, a lot of people are in fact going to be missing out because there's someone that took their place, but they were exclusively chosen just because of the color of their skin or their literal background. Guys, this is not a good system. It just isn't, right? We definitely need to find a better balance between the thought of, or the theory, let's say, of meritocracy and the theory of egalitarianism. Like, we definitely need to be, I'd say personally, a 90-10 scenario. I think we do need some type of egalitarianism, kind of for the sole purpose of being able to help people that in fact need help, that are still trying to help themselves. If that makes any sense here. We still need it. But I would definitely say we need less of it and more meritocracy, so we're not cutting out the people who are actually working really hard for a position but are being undercut exclusively by someone that is in a position just because of the color of their skin or their genes.
they didn't get looked at.
Colin, what's your example?
So my example would be, say that me and Jade have the same merits, same GPA, and we both applied to Harvard.
Okay.
It would be more before this happened, it would be more likely that Jade would get in over I do.
If you were exactly the same.
If we were the exact same merits, exact same certain type of class, it would be the affirmative action would put Jade over me because of the different races.
And
Yeah,
so
because you're an evil white man. Basically, that's how it's looked at, right? Because the group of people who are going to consistently lose when it comes down to affirmative action or any DEI are the ones who, for the most part, the left has decided is the most evil, even though these individuals had nothing to do with their ancestors. Like, that's basically what it is. To them, you're the evil white man. That's it, exclusively. It's not a fair game here. It has nothing to do with merit. It has all to do with making certain niche groups, let's say, feel better about their nicheness, basically.
What's the problem with that?
I think there's like more to that. When it comes to like at least Harvard, like it's really white. I don't know.
I went to Harvard. I graduated from Harvard.
Actually, it's not that white.
I'm not really white. Unless I am. But either way.
Not that white.
No. No, look. 37% Asian,
It's very Asian.
16%
Yeah,
Hispanic,
it's
14%
it's very
Black.
Asian.
It's like whites are a minority.
Well, I just think that like
It's very
when it comes
Asian.
to Black people, at least within our own communities, right?
Okay.
We
Okay.
don't see like us going to Ivy Leagues as much as like our white peers.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I went to a white high school and they got into more Ivies than all the Black students, and like we applied there too.
Okay.
So sometimes it's like not always true. And like, what about the other white people that
No,
have the
but
same
there's an
stats?
assumption that you just made right there. Go ahead.
I grew up in a very white community too, and we had a very few minority people. Majority of the minority people went to Ivy Leagues than my white friends.
Yeah, I mean, what you
No,
just...
it's not just that. It's different everywhere.
Right, bro. It's anecdotal evidence, right? And that's the problem here, right? We're running into a scenario where people are kind of creating bills and laws and theories, let's say, based off of their own specific version of history and version of truth, let's say. My friend did this, so this has to be true for everything. No one cares about the exception. The rule is what matters. We have two individuals that are sitting at the table here having two varying, massively varying different experiences. Which one is true? Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but what you just said, you said, because we don't know if the white students performed at the same level as the Black and brown students. So like we don't know that. So that's an assumption we have to be careful to make. Right. Here, let me ask you this. Let me look at the next slide. Let's look at a couple things here. Okay, here's California.
So we got here, guys. UC Berkeley.
Population is 15.5% Asian. Berkeley, which is the top school in the California system, okay, this is like the Ivy League of, you have Harvard, or you have Berkeley and you have Stanford, right? 40% of the admits in 2023 are Asian, okay? That seems, okay, what's going on here? Go to the next one. New York City enrollment in the top high schools. This is 2018, and this is completely determined by test scores. Test scores. It's not, we're not going in and saying like, hey, what kind of clubs were you in? How many clubs were you president of? This is just test scores. These are the 3 top high schools in New York City, or 3 of the handful of top high schools. Look at those numbers.
I definitely would not call Bedford-Stuyvesant like a top high school, but I get it, right?
Who are Asian.
A lot of people.
Okay.
Unless it is now,
How
guys.
fair?
I was in New York in the I grew up in New York, so I mean I get it. Like that area changed. Let's say, guys, it became safe to walk through with your dog.
Where is that?
Maybe that's what happened.
Arjun. How fair is that?
I mean, like, based off of test scores,
Yeah, go ahead, yep.
Pretty normal.
I mean, like being Asian and Indian, you know that stereotype where it's like, yo, like your parents are like, you gotta lock in, bro. Like, you gotta you can't be slacking in school. So like,
Right.
I wouldn't say it's like too much of a stereotype. It's low-key a fact.
It's a
But,
fact.
like,
It's a fact.
you know, me being brought up like that, I was like, I had to score better or stuff like that. Like I had to.
Okay, guys. All right, so the video is running into 20 minutes. We'll go ahead and leave the full link in the description. The video is great so far. I definitely appreciate you guys sending me this video here. But here's the thing here, guys. It doesn't surprise me that the majority of colleges are full of people of Asian descent at all, right? Not at all. Like, think about this here. It kind of comes down to the culture. If you look around at Black American culture, we start to realize that what is popular within Black American culture generally is just full of debauchery and all types of criminality. And listen to the music, you'll kind of get what I'm saying here. But without even but I think you kind of already understand, right? Now, understand this here also. Obviously, not every single Black American in the United States of America kind of falls into these groups. I personally don't think that I or my family, any of them, fall into this group. That is not the case here. I mean, we've all been, top of our class pretty consistently. It's not really a thing, right? But it comes down to a culture. Like, I wasn't raised in any type of like lower income type of area. Guys, I grew up on Long Island in East Hampton. If you guys know the area, then you get it. Right. And so I grew up, out there. So my experience in life was, if you want to succeed, you need to get some type of education, right? You have to educate yourself to make sure that you are, in fact, able to kind of speak to, any group of people at any time. And they can kind of understand you. You can have coherent conversations about things that are deep thought. You get what I'm saying here? These things are important here. I'm not surprised at any of the numbers that we just saw here, guys. It makes all the sense in the world that there are some groups who are just more interested in Ivy League education than others. But also at the same time, we're kind of running into a time where I specifically don't think that I would push my kids at this time to college specifically. At all. It's going to be some type of trade school, obviously, and something that is going to be able to make it so that they are doing something with their hands, not something that can basically be replaced by some random, insert AI application. You get what I mean here? It's very important that you learn when to pivot, and you learn when things are kind of becoming less important. And with how things are, there are a lot of people that even I know here, that are on YouTube, that are on other social media platforms, creating content that are making 50, 70 times more than doctors are on a regular basis, guys, right? So you have to understand that the world is pivoting, the times are changing. We still definitely need people who are highly educated and highly skilled, obviously, but it is not the path for everyone these days, okay? So it's very important that, for the most part, you teach your kids that specifically. But either way, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. The link for the rest of this video is going to be in the description. It is 1 hour and 10 minutes long. All right, it is a whole conversation that I'm going to definitely watch as I'm editing later today. All right, but in the meantime, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.